that pose. This is a transition movement, so the idea is to keep a flow happening the whole time. It's about coming out of movement to stillness, movement to stillness, movement to stillness, movement to stillness. That's the whole idea. Good, come on up. And that's rolling crow. This technique is rolling half moon. Emily's going to begin with her legs extended forward and roll herself back into a plow pose, nice and comfortable. Again, what's very important about all of these rolling techniques, she needs to tuck one leg behind the knee of the extended foot. So she's going to go ahead and roll up into position. As she tucks that leg, she comes. Now, right away, we need to see this because this is important. Notice how she based that right hand on the floor, because the right hand is going to be her base hand. Her right foot is going to be her base foot in half moon. Come up into half moon. Let's just show them half moon for a second. So basically, she's rolling up and setting up that position right away. So she knows she's going to need this hand here, so she goes ahead and sets it up. So let's go ahead and take it back down. She tucks in. She calmly, gracefully rolls back to the floor, back to plow. She rolls up. Notice that right hand goes ahead and gets hold of that floor, so she's got a great base position. Because this, let me hold you here for a second, it's a 2-point base. This is a tough posture. She's only got 2 points on the ground. And if you really want to make this hard, she could lift up and just put her fingertips on the floor. Oh yeah, now she's using only 1 point as a base. That's a very advanced posture, so work your way into that. Go ahead and take it back down, smoothly and calmly, and back to plow. Good, let's do this one more time. Hit a couple more points. She comes up, half moon. Good. Now, one more important thing about half moon. Notice the pelvis in an external rotation. She's got the hand reaching up to the sky, this hand reaching down. That's creating a counterbalance of energy as well. And she's got this pelvis. If this pelvis rotates this way, it's going to be difficult for her to maintain balance. She needs to open up completely, at least to the best that her body will allow. So you're looking for your range of motion in terms of this external rotation away from the ground. All right, Em, let's come on down. Fantastic. Well done. Good. Rest there and plow. And there's your rolling half moon. This technique is called rolling knee. Emily, let's go ahead and begin in a downward facing dog position. So as you can see, Emily sets her downward facing. Come back in, that's good. You see how she sets up her downward facing dog? She comes into a nice clean plank, checks, see if her shoulder heads are over her wrists. She's not again sagging in the pelvis or pushing up with the pelvis. She's nice and neutral here, very strong. A lot of energy happening in the belly and whatnot. So now she presses back to downward facing dog. She finds that proper alignment. And if you're looking for good alignment on your downward facing dog as well, is you can draw a fist distance between the heels. Gives you a good idea of what your alignment is with your hips. Because ladies, your hips are not out here. A lot of times I get women in my class and they love to step their feet this wide when I say hips width distance. So the good news is that your hips are actually only as wide as your fist. Good. So let's go ahead. Bring the feet together. So the first position in this technique is feet together. Then the right leg is going to extend to the sky. Good. Now what we're noticing here is that clean alignment that she has going through here. So it's really nice and clean there. So there's no soft, put a soft bend there. This isn't really happening. If she softens up here, she's not going to get the kind of energy that she needs to push back in this direction and keep the energy pushing at the floor as well. So she's really creating two lines. She's pushing against the sky, if you will, and against the earth. Two different directions. Good. Now from here, she's going to rise up on the back foot. She's going to begin rolling wave motion. So she's going to rolling the spine in as she draws the knee in simultaneously. Again, rounding that spine more and more and more, pushing that ground away. Nice cobra hood happening here. Lots of stability, very strong position. Shoulder heads right over the wrist, and she's going to take the leg back to the sky. Good, and back to a very clean, neutral position on the hip. You notice the hip's very neutral. We don't want to cock it open. This is a habit that a lot of people get into because they've got this range and it feels good. So what people want to do is overexploit areas where they have hyperflexibility. So what we're looking for is not to do that in this particular case. So if she was a dancer and she had really open hips, she doesn't want to keep exploiting that because she doesn't learn to build any strength in that neutral position. And that's what we're really looking for out of this practice. So let's do it one more time. Okay, left side. She's going to rise up on the foot. She's going to activate the belly, start rolling forward, spreads the cobra hood. Now notice this foot in a clean demi point the entire time to keep that energy happening. So this foot never comes out of that demi point. She takes it back to position. And again, it remains clean and demi pointed. Demi point, again, would not be a flex position. It would be extended foot, toes drawn back, revealing that metatarsal. Beautiful. Let's go ahead and rest. And there's your rolling knee. This technique is called rolling lunge. Emily's going to begin in a downward facing dog. If you'll notice, she first comes into a plank again to always set this technique up properly. She's going to press herself back now to downward facing dog. It's going to be our first position to start from. You notice that her fingers are spread wide as well, fanned open. She's really gripping the floor with the fingers, using the hands to root herself to the ground. Arms long, shoulder heads rotating open, working down the back, spine nice and long, pelvis neutral. Now from here, she's going to bring her feet together. Take her left leg to the sky. She immediately demi points that foot. Let's do that one more time for them. Watch how this foot, as soon as it lifts off of the floor, yes, translates into a demi point. Fantastic. That's really good footwork, because in martial arts we have several foot positions. Bear with me, Emily. We've got a flexed foot. We've got a demi point, we've got a full point, we've got a flexed foot with an edge for a side kick, we've got a back kick. So we've got several positions, so you really need to work to articulate all of these positions with the feet. So she's going to first rise up on the ball of that foot. She's going to activate that belly and start drawing that knee forward as she rolls forward. Now notice the tilting open of the knee. So she wants to keep her pelvis in a neutral rotation all the while she's tilting this knee open, as opposed to what she was doing in rolling knee, where she brought the knee in forward. In rolling lunge, you tilt the knee open to get a little opening happening there through the pelvis. Now what she wants to do here is continue that forward roll. Knee comes to the shoulder. She's in their cobra hood, nice and strong. She releases that foot to the floor very calmly. She lowers the pelvis down, gets a counter stretch here through the thoracic, lets the pelvis again work its way down, lifts through the heart, doesn't put any strain on the neck, stays long here, but doesn't go back like this. Wouldn't be good for your neck. So you want to stay long here, shoulder heads drawing back. Let's take it back in the other direction. Chin comes to chest, up. Slow down, grasshopper. Chin to chest. First, activate here first. Push all the way up. Cobra hood first. She creates space. Then she chambers this leg. Then she takes this leg back to the sky. Good. And she gets that nice extension again, and she's back to first position. Leg slowly works its way down to the floor, back to position, and there you have rolling lunge. This technique is called rolling to standing splits. Emily's going to begin a seated position. She's going to take her legs back over her head, basically into a plow. So from this plow position, what's very important to remember here is that she's going to need to tuck one of the feet as she's rolling forward. If she leaves her legs straight, she will never be able to come forward and come up. She has to tuck one leg behind the other. Basically, I think the best spot is right behind that knee joint. So if she places that foot behind the knee and rolls up into position. You can see, look now right there, she's got great balance here. This is really great balance. She set herself up properly. 4 points. 1, 2, 3, 4. So she really was thoughtful about that. Let's do it again. Let's let them see that one more time because that's really well done. So she tucks that leg under. She comes up and boom, she's in a great position here that she can just lift straight up and extend that leg out. Very simple technique. Her pelvis is neutral. Her foot is in a demi point. She's got energy happening here. She can straighten her arms as much as she wants. She can get this is all about hamstring stretch anyway. So really, as long as she, now let's say you don't have super flexible hamstrings. So go ahead and just bend the knee. It's okay. Never try to push beyond what your range of motion is. If this is where you're at, golden. Stay there and just breathe into it. Then she tucks the foot back in. She calmly sits back down and she rolls back to plow again, where she starts the whole exercise over. And there's your rolling standing splits. This technique is rolling vinyasa. We're going to begin in downward facing dog. Good. This technique is very similar to our rolling wave. Same technology applies. He's going to rise up, heels off of the floor. He's going to activate the belly. He's going to roll vertebra to vertebra to vertebra forward, coming into his cobra hood. As the only difference here, in rolling wave he would stop. But in rolling vinyasa, he's actually going to shift forward about 2 inches so that as he lowers down into a chaturanga, he's at a nice 90-degree angle, elbows directly over the wrists. Keeps everything nice and flat and strong here, gazing forward softly. Good. And from here, he's going to flatten out his feet one at a time. He's going to lift the upper torso, coming into a traditional hatha upward-facing dog. Now from here, again, he's lengthening through the middle spine, shoulder heads drawing back and down. Notice that the knees are off of the floor there. And let's keep his energy the big top of the big toe joint, pinky toe joint, good. Working back. Now from here, to return, he's going to bring his chin to chest. He's going to cobra hood that back. He's going to naturally just rise up, rolling back over the toes onto the balls of the feet one at a time, reestablishing his position in downward facing dog. There's your rolling vinyasa. This technique is called Rolling Warrior 3. Emily's going to start with her feet extended out in front of her. She's going to roll back into a simple plow with hands extended back. Now from here, she's going to need to tuck this foot, again, into the back of the knee of the opposite or straightened leg. She's going to roll forward. This is her base foot because she's got this foot tucked in, so you can really see the difference there. Now look, her hands are already reaching out. That means her energy is already working in that direction, so she's using the momentum of that roll to get her forward. Now she's got to counterbalance that energy. So as much as she's going this way, now she has to go that way. So this is very important about this technique, is that you get that, again, dual energy line, one going that way, one going this way, to create what you can see in her, the super stability that she's got. She retucks, sits back down calmly, rolls back into position. Hold there. And there's your Rolling Warrior 3. This technique is rolling wave. Now let's step ourselves into a plank position. Plank is going to set up our foundation so that we can move back into downward facing dog, which is the position that rolling wave is executed out of. So plank position, we have to have a lot of strength here in the shoulder area. If he collapses in, no good. He's got to push through here, strong, very sturdy foundation. The pelvis is, again, also in a neutral rotation. It's not sagging. It's not overextended. Good. So his energy lines are working. Crown of the head this direction, heels that direction. That's what creates all the stability there. Great. Now his shoulder heads are over his wrists again, just so we're clear there, so that if he's too far forward, again, you see how that causes the belly to collapse in. So he's got to stay right there to be in a good alignment. Okay, now he's going to press back, downward facing dog. Good. From here, fingertips spread, or fingers spread, fingertips really engaged working the floor. So if I grab his fingertips, really tough because he's rooted in. So his forearms are rotating in, his triceps and whatnot rotating open, shoulder heads rotating open away from the ears, triceps working down the back, spine is nice and long, belly is, firm, engaged, neck again is soft, he's just gazing back towards his feet or his belly. From here, the pelvis being in a neutral rotation, the legs are strong and they're as straight as possible. It's all up to an individual's range of motion. If Al didn't have, lengthened, flexible hamstrings, he could softly bend his knees, sink down, just keep that spine nice and long, and that'd be perfectly fine. So if you've got that range of motion, feel free to, bend your knees and get comfortable. Since Al's nice and flexible, straighten those legs out, work those heels towards the floor. Now from here, he's going to rise up, starting on the balls of the feet. We're going to work our way up here to the pelvis because we're going to see in this lower back the first action that happens as the belly engages. The lower spine starts to round. Rolling ourselves forward, vertebra to vertebra to vertebra. Starts to spread this back open. Nice, pushing up, hold, cobra hood. Very powerful position. Lats are engaged. Everything, pecs, shoulder area, the whole shoulder girdle is activated here. This is a very strong position. He can hold me physically, my whole body up here. So he's got a lot of energy. And the belly, everything's drawing up. Now from here, now that his shoulder heads are over his wrists, he can start to let that pelvis lower towards the floor. As he lengthens and lifts up through the thoracic spine, shoulder heads working back, down, good. Doesn't matter if he's looking up or if he's looking forward, as long as he doesn't crunch up here in his neck. So if he can gaze forward, if he can gaze up and keep space here, he's totally fine. So now, to start the reverse of this technique, he's going to bring his chin to his chest. He's going to push into my finger and activate that cobra hood here first. Hold, good. And keep working your way back, vertebra to vertebra to vertebra. Belly's lifting him up all the way back into position. Heels work towards the floor. And there you have rolling wave. This technique is called a round kick. Emily's going to demonstrate by stepping into a fighting stance or immovable stance. Let's face camera with this first. We'll change it around a few different times. Now, this position has 7 different components to it. Let's break them down. 1 is the starting position, or the furudachi. 2 is the rotation of the pelvis into that forward-facing stance, zinkutsudachi. Position 3 is the chambering of the knee. Position 4, now this is where it varies from the knee strike and the front kick, is now her position 4 is going to be a complete rotation of heel to target, and she rotates the pelvis into an external rotation. She's got the knee chambered nice and tight with the foot in a full point. She extends. Good, excellent. She's really in a half moon. This is so unique. Go ahead and take that hand to the floor. Yogically, she's simply in a half moon posture. Same exact posture. She's going to rise up, and now she's right back to that round kick. Now from here, she's going to rechamber the leg. She's got a choice. She can take it back to original position, or she can step forward as if she's gaining ground with the kick. Okay, let's do it one more time. So let's look at the exercise all together. Here we've got position 1, her starting. Position 2, zinkutsudachi. Position 3, chambered knee. Position 4, rotation of heel to target. She comes into that external rotation. Position 5, extension of the foot. Position 6, recoil. Position 7, she lands in a Futodachi facing forward, working her way again towards her target. Okay, Emily, face me with your right leg back. Let's look at this from another angle. So from here, she's in position 1. She's going to rotate to position 2, position 3. I'm going to give you a hand for balance. Position 4 is a rotation of heel to target, chambered leg. Position 5, extension. Position 6, recoil. Position 7, she lands facing forward in a Futodachi. Now let's take a look at a round kick at full speed. So Emily's going to deliver this round kick. Good, nice and quick. She's got a sharp recoil. Good. It's really what she's looking for out of that kick. Nice speed. Yeah, there it is. One more. Good. So she's got a lot of quickness there. Very important for a round kick. Notice that she comes up the middle with that round kick and then turns and gets that hip involved in the kick. If the hip's not there in a round kick, there won't be any power. So you need the hip to get involved, and you need that base foot to rotate to allow that to happen. That's how you deliver a really super fast round kick. This technique is called side crow. I was going to come into a chair pose position. This is how we set up, or is how I like to set up for a side crow. I'll go ahead and sink down into chair. Good. Now let's take this left elbow to the outside of the right knee. So, good. Now let's turn it around for the audience there. Nice. There you go. Boom. So Alan twists around, gets this elbow on the outside of that right knee. If he can, he starts working this hand to the floor. And he's going to try to get this right hand as well to the floor, basically shoulders width distance apart as if he's in a handstand. Now at this point, he's created a shelf again for this left arm and for this right leg to rest upon. And of course, his left leg is resting on his right leg's resting on his left arm. So that's what he's created there for himself. Now, with his core, he'll lift the feet off of the ground. Nice, good. We want the feet demi-pointed. Good. Toes rolling back. A lot of activation there, so you can see all that happening. He's got the fingers spread wide, really working into the floor. He wants to keep a nice evenness here in the shoulders. If he dips this right shoulder, let's say, lower, takes the body off of alignment, bring it back up. If we take this shoulder lower, again, and see how easy it is to collapse. So this should be a really strong and stable position. So you want to really look for squaring those shoulders to the ground. And this is completely core, this is all about core activation. It's pretty much a fantastic side crow. Can you extend those legs out? Oh yeah, if you want to be super cool, this is a great modification for that too. And there's your side crow. This technique is called single leg sit through. We're also going to rise up into a warrior 3 out of that technique, so we're going to look at both of those postures. So let's go ahead and come into a downward facing dog position. Good, setting up in plank, pressing back, finding that good alignment. From here, we're going to bring the feet together, take the right leg to the sky. We're going to go ahead and roll forward as if we're doing a rolling knee, but we're going to step into a low lunge. Excellent, good. Now from here, we're looking to go ahead and shift the weight of the body forward so that she can take the pressure off this back foot. Now, as you can see, she can now lift this foot up. Now this depends on your range of motion. She could keep her legs straight and sit it through. Not everybody can do that. If you can't do that, no big deal. You're simply going to bend the knee, and you're going to extend the hands to the back of the body while extending the foot out in front. So let's look at the hands again. I want everybody to see this. Notice how important this is, everybody. As you draw this knee in, see her hands are here now, but as she extends forward, she takes the hands back here so she doesn't fall back onto her butt. Because the sit-through is not an easy thing to do, but it's really great for your balance and your range of motion. She's got the foot through. Now, here's the tough part. She's got to rise up into warrior 3. So she rises up extending out. Oh my goodness, that is fantastic. So from here, she's going to draw everything back in, simply lower back down into a low lunge, stepping the right leg back, downward facing dog. And there's your single leg sit through into warrior three. This technique is called water wheel. We're also going to include advanced water wheel along with the sequence. So Emily, let's go ahead and come up into a right leg forward lunge. Good. So from this position, Emily's going to extend her right hand overhead, rotating her torso, getting a nice twist here. She uses the left hand to base, and she keeps a nice hip width distance between the left hand and the right foot. She's got the arm extending out. Again, torso rotating open as much as possible while keeping the pelvis in a neutral rotation and the heel working towards the back of the room. Now from here, she's going to extend the hand behind her as she